Hello, literature lovers. Today I am going to discuss a very different topic, and not much people are aware of it. That is Dalit literature. And with the very beginning, it can be related to India, and it's a category talking about the definition of untouchables in the post independent India, and it is referred to the Varna system of India and the Manusmriti. All these things were there, and a myth that follows related to Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishya, and Shudra. How you can read it carefully. The mythological context is given here, and how it evolved in India. And there is a whole literature related to it, and it is connected with the Marxism approach and the Gandhism, which really follows, and how the word Dalit, and that is talking about the depressed classes of India, and later on, which Mahatma Gandhi referred as the Harijans. And the literature is follows, and the roots are back from the Vedic period, and then talking about the Rig Veda here, and we can see how the things were explained. Although the topic is much vast, and I'm trying to analyze it in a shorter context, and you can read it, how the words are used here, and how the literature is referred to different contexts. So, in a larger perspective, we can deal these things, and not only in the villages, but it is really widespread in the urban area also. So there is a vast distinction, and it is asked, and the hero of that society is none other than Baba Sahib Ambedkar, and who really talked about it. We can talk how he portrayed Dalits, and in his own words, there are other precursors and pioneers who really talked about the Dalit leading, and how they talked about it with their writing. Although Baba Sahib Ambedkar talked about it in detail, and the whole work is being divided in different aspects. All untouchable category started in with the report in 1911, and they talk about how these people are denied and oppressed, and there are revolts against it, and then the category started. Although Britishers really talked about it in different contexts, the Britishers never thought of it. For them, all Indians were really Dalits, and he never talked about it. But in India, there are people who referred it in different contexts. This is an objective of Dalit literature, and how they were referred and recognized altogether. And this is what it is done in talking about the Hindu literature, and the Dalit literature is a total revolutionized thing, and not only in pre-independent India, but also in post-independence. And now here is the rise, how the Dalits were rising in 1920s with the campaign of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and there are other pioneers and leaders of the literature. Arjun Dangle is also considered one of the major names, and in later on in 1970s the major rise took place, and we can coincide it with the black literature, that is the black American Black Panthers, and who are really talked about it. They are quite correlated with it, and that is the reason why these oppressed and broken people class is really a major topic to be discussed. And now we can strictly connect it with the Negro slavery, and how these people are facing the differences in the class by their name. So the literature is particularly, I hope you have got an overall idea, talking about how these people fight against the system and each and every class. Now here we can really relate it with the racism in America, how Black American writing is totally related with it, and how they face the racism problem in the people of America, and still these classes facing problems, and because of different myths and talking about how different categories are talked, and the recommendation is there talking about the doctrine. It was difficult for Americans also, African Americans, to stay there and try to progress, and especially it all happened after the Civil War, and there are certain leaders who took it in their whole, and they talked and explained it, and different variety authors who wrote about the ideas of the African American, and that's all the literature goes into the context of it. I'm sure you must have got an overall idea. Now we can come back to the Dalit writings, and this is the same category, and there are different highly recognized names who talk about them, and that is Namdev and Kabir, who really talked about it, and the Bhakti movement, Bhakti poets were also related with it, and talking about the first Dalit activism related to it in all in 1900s and 30s, and this is all what started from Maharashtra, and you can read it clearly, the anti-caste movement by Jyotiba Phule, and then came the literary movement by Ambedkar ji, and that was talking about this movement, starting from Phule's and the first ruler of in 1902. Now we can talk about in detail the contribution of Ambedkar ji, and it is really great. And since he was himself a Dalit, he can really correlate with these things clearly. And these are some of the quotes by him, and that is the reason why Ambedkar ji is talked about. Another very great worker of this thing was Dr. M.N. Wankhede. So that is the reason why Maharashtra is considered the epicenter of that movement, and there are different things related to it. And the religious aspect is as follows. You can see. Now we can come back to Black American writing, and especially after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, who started it all, and he himself advocated being a lawyer, the rights of blacks, and he talked about it in detail, and the, all these movements started all after that, and there are very important works, especially after Harlem Renaissance. It all started, and there are so great writing like Slay Hughes who talk about it, and these works are really very, very moving. Similarly, in India also, there are major works related to it which talk about it. That's all I can say today. It's really wide topic and really touchy, and I'm sure you will get your overall emotions related to it. And still, we are working for them. Thanks.